Hey everyone, so here is our mini lesson today for September 9th, 2020. Man, look at that. I've got 2020. Well, it's 20,000. Yeah, that's way off. It should be 2020. We're going to be multiplying decimals by decimals today. Let's get it started. All right. So, first thing I want us to do, I want us to model 5/10 by 5/10, or 5/10 times 5/10. Now, that little x can also be the word by. I want you to try this out and draw it as an area model and see what you come up with. So first of all, draw me a nice, long, fat rectangle with 5 pieces, kind of like this. There we go. So go ahead and draw this out. I've got 10 here because these are tenths, right? That's 5/10. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shaded in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5 gives me 10 all the way across. So I have 5/10 shaded in. This is just dealing with my first part of the multiplication problem. Go ahead and draw this out on a piece of paper if you haven't already done so. I'll go ahead and pause the video and then we'll move on together. All right, so you've got a half, and now we need to multiply this by 1/2. So what I'm going to do in an area model, I'll need to go the opposite direction, which means I'll need to draw in the lines going the other way. So now what I have here, I have my original 5/10, 3, 4, and 5 shaded in, up and down in yellow, and going my other direction, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of my 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows up and down, also shaded in blue, going the opposite direction. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you will do this and shade your vertical and your horizontal lines different colors, what you get where the two colors mix, this will actually be your product. So I have 1/2 times 1/2, or 5/10 times 5/10, or 5/10 by 5/10. All right, so there is our model. Just looking at this model, I want you to try to think through, what do you think the answer will be here? Go ahead, count up what you need to count up, and we'll check it here in just a second. Go ahead and pause the video. All right, hopefully you paused this, you checked it out, you actually counted, and now we're going to see what we've got. So our answer is going to be 25/100ths. But let's check this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I've got another row, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So I do have 25 pieces. And if each of these quadrants are equally sized, and they look like they are, they're 5 by 5 all the way across. So these should all be equal. 25 plus 25 is 50. Plus another 25 would be 75 small pieces. Plus another 25 would be 100 small pieces. So I have 25 out of 100, or 25/100ths as my answer. Pretty simple, right? Actually, let's look at this together. One more thing I want to look at. So if you count this up, this all makes sense. But also, if you look at your multiplication section, we've got 5 times 5, which equals 25. And just like we did yesterday, there are 1, 2 digits behind to the right of a decimal point in our question. And I have 1, 2 digits behind a decimal point in our answer. We're actually using just the same rule that we used yesterday. It works the same if you have 2 decimals in your multiplication problem. However many you have in your question, you will have that many digits to the right of your decimal point in your answer. So, other things I want you to notice. Our product is smaller than either of our 2 factors because we're taking a piece of a piece. If I go back here, well, maybe I can. If I go back here, here is our first original piece. It's actually fairly large. It's 50/100ths. Here's our second piece, also 51/100ths. But when we multiply them together, we get something smaller than either of them, only 25/100ths. That's because this is basically a half, and this is basically a half. So I've taken a half of 1/2, or 5/10 of 5/10, which gives me 25/100ths, or half of it. The second thing, well, of course, when we can multiply, we're using the same rules we did when we multiplied a decimal by an integer or a whole number. 2 digits to the right of the decimal point in the question, like I said before, and there are 2 digits to the right of the decimal point here in our answer. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the big stuff you need to know for multiplying a decimal by a decimal. So I want you to go ahead and try this one. Go ahead and try it on your own. Pause the video. We'll do some guided practice here in a second, but I would like you to try this on your own and see how you do. Did you try it? For real, you tried it? Okay, because I can't just sit here the entire time. You're going to have to pause the video. Okay, thanks. Here we go. I've got 3.6, or 3 6/10 times 5/100ths. But again, I'm not going to worry about anything other than my integer. I'm going to worry about the digits here, and I'm not going to so much worry about what place they're in, because when I am done, I'm going to deal with the decimal point. So I'm basically going to take my 36 and my 5, and I'm just going to pop them over here. And I'm going to multiply. So 36 times 5. Let's see. 5 times 6 is 30, 0, and we'll carry our 3 up. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3 more gives me 18. So 36 times 5 is 180. But now we need to deal with our decimal points just like we did before. It's the same deal. So I've got 1, 2 digits there behind to the right of my decimal point, and 1 more over here. So I need 3 digits behind a decimal point. That 0 we will keep because he was part of our answer. 2 and 3. So it's actually going to go right here in front of our 1. I'll have 180 1,000ths, or 18/100ths. Now, does that make sense? Well, I have hundredths here. 3 times 5 would be 15/100ths. That makes sense, and since it's just a little more, it's between 3 and 4, it's going to be somewhere between 50/100ths and 20/100ths, or 2/10. 18/100ths does fit that spot. So we know that that is a good estimate for what we're working on. All right. As you go forward down in the guided practice, guys and gals, it's going to be exactly like what we just did here. You're just going to use regular multiplication. Don't even worry about those crazy decimal points and zeros for the most part, unless they're to the right of an integer and you have to deal with them. If not, go ahead and forget them. If they're to the left of our thing and keeping space, go ahead, multiply your digits together like you would whole numbers, and then figure out how many decimal points you need in your answer by checking out the question. We'll try a couple more of these together, and then you'll have a few to do on your own. Good luck.